Hey everybody, this is David at Barnyard Bees. Today's video is explaining how I do a walkaway split. I've had this question asked so many times here lately. People trying walkaway splits and being unsuccessful with it. Well, first of all, let me address this. I wouldn't advise doing walkaway splits this time of year. If you're going to do walkaway splits, do them early in the year, in March, April, May, depending where you're at in the country. Here, March, April, May would be the time to do those. After that, everything's against you, and they just don't work out well. Now, we graft, so walkaway splits is something that we do for demonstrations to show new beekeepers, because new beekeepers that aren't in the grafting yet and they want to make some queens, walkaway splits are a very good technique to use in doing that. We graft, so it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for us to do many walkaway splits unless we are demonstrating or showing people how to do it. But like I said, if somebody that's just getting started, walkaway splits are excellent technique on making your own queens. So let me explain a couple ways that you can do it and be successful at it. One thing is, what a lot of people will make a mistake. Now this is all simulation right here, because I'm not going to do a walkaway split. So I'm going to use an empty box and two empty Barnyard Bee queen mate Nucs. I'm going to show you how, just an idea how we do it. Let's say, for example, let's say that this colony, which, like I said, it's empty. There's nothing in here. If it was packed full of bees, what you would want to do is go through and make sure you find your queen. That's absolutely a must. You can't guess at it. You got to know where your queen's at. And then you'll go in and you'll pull out. Now, most likely you're going to have more honey on outside frames. The more you come to the inside frames, will be where your queen's at, and where she's laying the most newest of the eggs, the new brood, the new eggs. So what you always do, and I've seen people pull out frames out of the middle. I don't know why in the world people do that. It's nonsense. You're risking killing your queen when you do that. And I don't care what they say, always start from the outside, because you got honey over here, and there's a less likely chance that she's going to be over here, and then it gives you room to move your frames over. That way, when you go pulling your frame up, here's what I mean. If all these frames are in here like this, and a lot of times frames are with wax are tight anyway, and you go pulling it up, you're going to rub. Sometimes the frames, the wax is protruded out a little bit further. And when you pull it up and it rubs up against a protruded spot on this frame, and that queen's in between it, you killed her. And I've done it. It's happened. So every time you do that, you're taking a chance. So always pull that frame out from the outside. Gives you room to work. And then you can get in there and get your frame out. Now, your donor frame that you're going to pick, what I do, find you a frame that has day-old eggs and larvae that you can see older than that. So from day old up to cap brood, and you see everything in between, you're good to go. You got something there that they can make a queen with. So what you want to do now, here's the mistake that people are doing. They're taking this frame, they're putting it in here along with an empty frame, and they're moving it to another spot somewhere, and about all the foragers fly back, and it may not have had enough nurse bees to begin with, and you left very few bees to make a very good quality queen cell. If they did stay, you can't do that. You got to overload this thing with some bees to get them to make you a good quality queen cell. So here's a couple ways you can do this. Now let's say this is an extremely packed hive, or if it's not, just it's packed and it needs split, but you're only going to do one frame, here's two ways that you can do this. Okay, let's say you're going to pull 2 donor frames out, and then you're going to leave 3 here. So you pull another frame out, and you'll stick it in this two framer right here beside it. So now this is your hive. It's your queen right colony, right? That's your queen right colony. And you go put 2 empties right here in between this to fill in where you just robbed the 2 donor frames. Now, what I do, I remove this hive here, put it somewhere else in the yard, anywhere that you want. In place of that, now a lot of people will disagree with this. That's fine. It works for me, and it's a good technique, and it does work. Put your 2 mini Nucs right there in place of it. You're going to lose some foragers out of this colony here that you moved, but it's okay. It's okay because it's graduating foragers every single day. And since she's already have eggs laid in those in some of those frames that you left, and a good honey supply, a good pollen supply, they'll be okay. They'll get by. And what'll happen, it'll pack this colony out. Now remember, foragers can revert back to nurse bees, the job of nurse bees. So remember that. And some people may disagree with that, but I know better. Now, those bees will come back and they're going to come into 2 queenless colonies. Now they may overrun one. You got to sit back and watch this happen. They may overrun the right one more than they do the left one. If they do that, swap it over, move this one over to this side. Try to even them out as much as possible as you're watching these foragers go back. Now, that's one way you can do it. Put your lid on it, and the next day come out and separate those about 6 inches or a foot, like that. And the next day, separate them again, and you're good. And you're going to let them sit there. Now, that'll give you a lot of bees in those colonies right there to make a decent quality queen cell. I do recommend that you do this, like I said, in early spring. I do not recommend anybody doing walkaway splits this time of year. It's just not good. There's too much out there that the drone populations are falling, they're dropping down. There's too many dragonflies, there's too many birds. It's robin season, we're in the dearth. They don't have very good chances of returning the queen. You may be 20% lucky and get it. You do this March, April, May, depending where you're at. It may, if you're up in state Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, somewhere like that, we're talking later, like May or April. Just depending where you're at. You have to make that call. Your how warm your days are there. So that'll give you a lot better chance, and you get pretty good success rate like this, probably around 70 to 80% with a walkaway split at that time of year, because everything's in your advantage. There's lots of drones, there's no robin, there's no dragonflies chasing down returning queens, there's no purple martins chasing down returning queens. Everything's in your advantage. You got really good success rate. So if you'll do this, do it early in the year. Okay, that's one way. That's one way to do it. Another way is, now, this will probably give you a little bit better return as far as immediate nurse bees for your colony. So what you do, okay, here's your 2-framer right here. Or if you, however many you do, 1 or 2 or whatever, we'll demonstrate 1. So you got your 2-framer sitting on the ground like this, and you're going to go into this hive here. You're going to pull out frames more towards the center where more your nurse bees are, and your baby bees hatching. Find your queen. You got to find your queen. Put her to the side on a frame. Do not get her confused. So you'll pull your donor frame out just like you did before. So there's a frame in there. So let's pretend that that's the donor frame right there that you already put in there. Now, what you want to do now is pull out an additional, about, for a colony this size, probably about, we'll say two more with nurse bees on it. And what you're going to do, you're going to come over here. Now remember, some of those are going to fly back on that frame there. But what you're going to do, you got nurse bees here on this frame, and you're going to shake it. You're going to shake it right in the front of the colony here, right in front of the entrance, right here. And those bees will start marching. You'll get another frame. You'll do the same thing. You'll shake them. And it puts them in swarm mode. But what it also does too, those bees can't fly, the baby bees. So they're going to go in. They have no choice. They will go in that colony. So now you got a queenless colony, but you got a lot of nurse bees. Now, you can move this and put it wherever you want to. It doesn't matter now because you packed it full of nurse bees, young bees that's not going to fly, that's never been out of the colony, and they won't return to the mother colony. So that's another technique. That works out very well. Both of them work out really well. But you can't just pull a frame out and then move it somewhere, because it's, sometimes it does work. I've heard of people doing it, and I have actually tried it myself a long time ago, and sometimes it does work. You do it 5 times, it may work maybe 1 or 2. It's not a really good technique that way, just to pull a frame out, stick it in there, and move it. But doing it those 2 ways will get you will pack your little mini nuke out with a lot of bees. So that's it right there. That should explain it. That should help you out, I hope. And we'll go ahead and end the video, because that's all there is to it. It's simple. And don't forget, folks, if you need packages for next year, barnyardbees.com. Beekeeping supplies, barnyardbees.com. Check out our website. Don't forget, folks, please help share our videos. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Barnyard Bees.